I'm sure I drove some of my highly skilled engineering talent crazy over the years, but it was my passion and my purpose on this earth was to create an environment where people love coming to work and really that we enhance their lives in some way for real, not just a thing on the wall. I don't even think we have our values on the wall now that I think about it, but because we just live them. They're just it's just who we are and how we do things.
Welcome to the Machine Shop Mastery Podcast, where we uncover the stories behind successful machine shops and their owners. By interviewing current and former shop owners, we dig deep to unveil their secrets of success and the struggles and challenges they've overcome on their paths to building thriving shops. We aim to elevate how important the machining industry is and inspire others by highlighting why owning a shop can be a great vehicle to creating jobs, stimulating the economy, and creating wealth. Here's our host, former machine shop owner himself, Paul Van Meter.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Machine Shop Mastery. Today, I had a really wonderful and insightful conversation with Gene Pitzo of Ace Metal Crafts. This is a just fascinating company. I definitely encourage you to go check out their website and the videos that they have about their company. Just truly, truly amazing. What I really love about the way Gene describes the company and the history of it is just how much they focus on their culture, on the passion for enhancing the lives of their employees, all the way to her creating emotional intelligence classes and having a whole series of classes that their whole team can join and learn to, be better employees, be better human beings, quite honestly. It's pretty inspiring. I know that when you see someone that has such a passion for the employees, that's going to translate into successful business outcomes. So I just see that time and time again. And this is one of the best examples out of the 100+ episodes we've done where that's the case. So we also talk about the hard realities of running a precision manufacturing business. Gene talks about their completely open book policy, really sharing, the numbers with everybody. And she said something like 20 of the 40 years she's been in business, she didn't take anything home personally, right? And I can remember years at Pro CNC where they were so tight we couldn't take a paycheck, and sometimes even had to put a little more money into the business just to keep it going. So it can be a hard business, but obviously with the right kind of diligence and investment and work on culture and team and process, it can be very successful, and they have a thriving business today. So it's a great conversation. I know you'll enjoy it, and let's get into it with Gene. Gene, welcome to the Machine Shop Mastery Podcast. How are you?
I'm good, Paul. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, it's my honor for sure. I ran across your company on LinkedIn several weeks ago, watched some of the videos, watched just the incredible culture that you guys clearly have. And I'm like, I got to have Gene on the show. So
That's
I'm very
great.
excited to dig in and talk about the history of Ace Metal Crafts
Yeah.
and what you're doing so well today. So
Thank you. And we just freshened
yeah,
up that website. We
it's beautiful.
put a lot more about what it's like to work at the company, because we use it more for recruiting than actually selling to new businesses. It's used for both, but
Yeah.
finding talent's one of the challenges. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Equally important to customers these days,
yeah,
quite
right.
honestly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start with just a snapshot of Ace Metal Crafts today, and then
Hmm.
let's go back and talk about the history.
Sure. Today we finished last year at $30 million in revenue with 150 employees.
Okay.
And the company started way back when in 1960, but in 2018 is when we bought a machine shop to add to our fabrication that we were already doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in machining before that, just doing machining for some of our weldments that we do in fabrication. But then
Sure.
we added a company that was very close by and had similar customers. So bought that 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a sizable organization. That's a
150
lot of
people.
revenue and a lot
Yes,
of people.
yes.
Yeah.
We bought an
Very.
automation company 2 years ago too. So now we're about 200 people. But yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing to do with machining, even though they do some machining, but
Sure.
automation, yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Well, we've had people in automation for sure on this podcast
Not
as well.
good.
So, um, all right. Well, let's go back and talk about the origins
Okay.
of the business.
Well, it started, from what I understand, I was 3 years old, but it started in 1960 with 15 or 16 shop and fabrication shop employees. Their company was leaving the Illinois area, and they started up a fabrication shop, not machine shop, but fabrication shop, and specialized in stainless steel. So, still to this day, we specialize in stainless steel. We do other metals and machining, but mainly stainless steel, and we're really good at it. Um, and some people, some other shops struggle with it, but that's our specialty.
Nice.
So, yeah, and then my father bought the company many years later in 1982, and I
Okay.
took over in 1989, and my sister and I bought it from my dad in 1991.
Okay. A
Yeah.
good long time
A
ago.
long time ago, yeah. And then, my daughter came into the business 15 years ago, and she is now the president of the company.
Amazing. And what is
Yeah.
your role?
I, just semi-retired. I'm chairman of the board of both companies, Automation and Ace Metal Crafts, and we have a CEO, Keith Stout, and then my daughter's president of Ace Metal Craft.
Oh, very
Yeah.
nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. And what industries do you specialize in serving?
Food processing, meat processing in particular, but food processing, pharmaceutical processing, and packaging for both those industries. So
Got it.
we don't have our own product. We make components
Mm-hmm.
for our customers' designs. And maybe about 5 years ago, we started also assembling and putting together their machines for them. Not every customer wants that, but we do offer those services, and that's really exploding for
Oh,
us.
good.
Yeah.
Nice. I imagine it's driving because those companies are having a hard time finding people in their own companies to do all the work. So they
Yes.
figure,
Yes.
let's just get it turnkey from you guys.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it really feeds fabrication and machining. It
of
feeds the
course.
other 2 if we can get into an account that wants that. So,
Yeah, yeah, that vertical integration
yeah.
is desirable.
Hey guys, it's Nick from Making Chips, and I just wanted to tell you if you're looking to push your shop forward this year, you need to be at the DN Solutions Manufacturing Without Limits event. That's where I'll be at the DN Solutions Chicago Tech Center May 5th and 6th, and I'll be standing next to a lights out monster, a DVF 5000 with a Hennig workflow feeding the beast. And they're running more than 15 other machines live on the floor, not just demos, live cutting too. Plus, you'll have expert led seminars, automation insights, and the chance to talk directly with engineers and other manufacturers solving the exact same challenges you have. And they're making it easy. Breakfast and lunch are included both days, so you just show up and focus on learning. If you want to see what's possible for your shop, this is the place. Register now at the link in the show notes or visit dn-solutions.com. That's dn-solutions.com.
Well, let's talk about the growth of the business. What size was it when your dad bought it, when you took it over, and what are the moves that you've made collectively over the years that have allowed it to grow to this pretty impressive size?
So many moves, but when he bought it, the first year we had it, and I started working with him right when he bought it, but, we did $1,200,000 that year. So we did about
Okay.
100,000 a month, yeah. I think we had, like, 20 employees. And, my dad was an entrepreneur, and, he was very good at adding technology and getting new equipment and those things, but him and I only worked together for 6 years, which kinda surprises me when I think back on it, because in those days, it was really rare to have a daughter in the business,
Mm-hmm.
and, so 6 years after he bought it, he moved to Florida, and I took it over and just kept investing and growing. One of the main things I guess I could say about those years, they were very thin for us because we kept reinvesting in the business. We didn't take a lot of money out of the company. And I think that's one of the reasons it survived some of their earlier recessions.
Got it. You
Yeah.
mean that you built up a durable base with
Yes.
equipment and people and processes and everything that allowed those lean years to be
Yes.
less risky.
Less horrific. Yes, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But you've certainly been through some lean cycles.
Well, one of the tough ones was the year before 9/11 happened, which all of us were slow after that, right? There was mad cow disease in the meat industry, and it really slowed the
Of
industry down.
course.
I don't know if you recall that.
I do remember. Yeah, I do
Yeah, so
remember it.
so we were slow on top of slow on top of slow, and you can only cut so much. You can't cut the core of your talent, right? So we're painting the walls and doing that stuff. And then some of the employees approached me. They wanted to try lean manufacturing, and so I said, "Try it? What? Sure, yes, great." And they went to some seminars, and we partnered up with a company already doing it, and so we have a lot. We do a lot of the lean methods in our business. In 2013, we applied to Toyota's division that is their philanthropic division that helps manufacturers become lean, or they call it
Mhm.
Toyota Production System. And they worked with us for 5 years, even though we're not in the auto industry.
Wow.
They shared the cost. And so we really got good at that. We got great at scheduling. A lot of good things came out of that. So we made a lot of really good moves now that you have me thinking about it. That was one of the better ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's lean can be so transformational. My
yeah,
shop went through that process. Um, we really leaned into it in so many different ways. We had lean activities going all the time for
yeah,
years. It's just
yes.
never ending,
It's never
and
ending.
it changed the company so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes we're
that's
taking
cool.
a breather, and then we get way back into it again. It kinda goes in waves like that, but yeah, because you gotta let some of the newness settle in, I think.
Sure, sure.
Mhm.
So, what was very evident from the videos that I saw
Mhm.
from your website is that culture and your team is just looked pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Just really invested employees. Employees invested in the business invested in them. Just really, really firing on all cylinders.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's talk about that. What have you done to build this amazing culture that probably is what drives the growth of the business in many ways?
I'm sure I drove some of my highly skilled engineering talent crazy over the years, but it was my passion and my purpose on this earth was to create an environment where people love coming to work and really that we enhance their lives in some way for real, not just a thing on the wall. I don't even think we have our values on the wall now that I think about it, but because we just live them. They're just it's just who we are and how we do things. Um, but I think my commitment to it was a huge driver because even in some slow years, we were slow, during COVID, and then had a really good year after COVID, and then it dived again because, it's pent up demand. We filled it, had a great year, and then bam, still spent 100 grand on a wonderful coach that worked with the leaders for a whole year. Because they have some
Wow.
downtime, right? But to invest
Sure.
it then when you don't know when we're gonna come out of the slowness. And of course, it worked out, we did, and everybody's better for it. But that's a gut check and a commitment to developing leaders,
Mhm.
which I think very few people do in their businesses. I was checking before I got on this, call with you that there's about 800 machine shops in Illinois, which is where we are, and 80% of them have less than 20 employees. So what
Yeah.
that says to me, and I'm making an assumption, but the founder makes a good living and everyone else is just paid, right? So the purpose of it is just to help one family where we want to help with all the families. We want to help everybody, with bonuses and things tied to continuous improvement, improve their lives. It just meant everything to me to do that.
That's
So I
pretty
spent a lot of
special.
time doing that. The how to, there's a whole list, and I can give you
Yeah.
some of our
This
go
is
tos.
Yeah, we want some tactical things coming out of this. So, yeah, what are
Okay.
some of the programs, the initiatives, the things you've done that have worked
Uh,
really well?
one a very simple, easy thing to do is we do book clubs. We'll pick a leadership book, and how we do is people need the mechanics of that, so I'll go into it. We pick a book, and then everyone reads a chapter at home or during their lunch hour or whenever, highlights things in it that meant something that drawn their eye, and then we discuss it every week until we're done with the book. So if there's 16 chapters, it's 16 weeks. And that's been kind of amazing because we have 6 languages spoken in our plant too, so that's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But some people have never read a book. I mean, we're taking the guys out, the welders and the metal benders and the machinists off the shop floor during production time to do that. But it's helping them get back into learning and learning from a book, and we do it together. And that's a very basic thing. What we do for the whole company also is we have emotional intelligence classes, and I've been teaching. I had to write them myself because so long ago they didn't have anything. Daniel Goldman hadn't written his book yet, but yeah. So the basics of the EI classes are the first one's like self awareness, and
Mm-hmm.
that's hard concept for people, right? From no self awareness, total unconsciousness to becoming more self aware and
Mm-hmm.
taking responsibility for your impact on the people around you, that's your responsibility if they didn't understand your communication. "Well, I told them," "Well, I told them and they didn't do it." Well, that's on you a little bit. What did you say exactly? And because communication is so difficult, it's so confusing, and then you add the languages and the ethnicity ethnic cultures too.
Of
Words
course.
mean different things in different cultures when we have first generation immigrants from different countries.
Yeah.
But the EI classes have triggers, understanding our own triggers, what really bothers us. So we're aware of it. It's not, the goal isn't to not have a trigger, it's to be aware that this is really triggering me. How do I want,
Mm-hmm.
who do I want to be now? And it's so basic that people usually say, "What's your biggest trigger?" And they always go to, well, road rage kind of car. Oh, the guy pulled in front of me kind of things.
Right.
But as we keep digging in and digging in, we get more. And then we teach victimhood. We're not a victim of if you have a whole company, and it's easy when you have less than 20 employees, that's a victim of the customer. We have the customers paying us every week, making our payroll. I'm like, we are not victims of them. They are our friends. We are here to serve them, or a victim of the economy, or a victim of the boss, or a victim. I just try to drive that out because that's all about fear. So we're trying to recognize that what are they really afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
Getting laid off, not getting their bills paid. Those are kind of basic human needs. So, um, and then some of the other ones, this is my favorite classes. We teach forgiveness. And that one just blows my mind because it's different than what we think it is. They think, well, then I gotta it be okay with this bad behavior, and it's not that. That's not forgiveness. So we have a whole class on that, and then we have a graduation, and so that's kind of a core language then for everybody in the company that because they don't have the skill set to to do conflict, to communicate well, to take responsibility for their own behavior, for their impact on others. People don't have the skills. So if we expect them to be different or don't do that behavior anymore, they don't have a new one to do, right? So
Wow.
you got to teach that, and you got to be okay that the new people coming in don't know that yet. Yeah, but the
Wow.
biggest thing we do so many things, but we call it a trust based culture, and it takes a long time to build trust. So, like the first year, 12 to 18 months, it takes a new person coming into our environment to let their guard down because they don't trust
That's a
that,
long time.
oh my God, they're so nice here. Or, I can't believe this guy next to me is helping me. I can't believe that guy's teaching me how to weld this. This is really hard part. I can't believe everyone's sharing. They don't believe it. So they got to be there a while before the other shoe drops because of all the toxic leaders that they've had in the past. That's our
Yeah.
biggest recruiting tool is all these bad bosses that and the stories that I hear.
Do you
So,
think Do you think bad bosses know they're bad bosses?
No, gosh, no. They don't know that they're in their ego and their ego's driving their behavior. They have no idea the impact that they have. Or when I think of power, I think of I like power so I can empower others, so I can have resources to spread. Other people have power, so they have power over somebody or somebody's behavior or somebody's future, and that's not what
Mhm.
power is to me. That's ridiculous, right? So, yeah,
How did you decide early, you're in business, a business has
yeah,
to make money.
right,
Doing all this work, all this training costs money. How
yeah.
did you decide early on that this was the strategy, the path? Did you just have a gut feel that this would have a good ROI, or it was just in
You
your
know,
heart, or
it I kind of fell into it because here's the real deal. I have an MBA from way back 1,000 years ago, but I don't know how to do machining. I don't hardly barely read a blueprint. I don't know I can buy equipment, I can get the money to buy equipment, in all sorts of sources. Don't know how to use it, don't know how to turn it on. So I don't know how to do what we actually sell. So I had to trust the people. I had to. I had no option. Um, that turned out to be a huge benefit because I got to concentrate on growing the business, on sales, on financing equipment, on getting systems and processes in play, hiring Toyota to come and teach us stuff, hiring executive coaches for leaders, getting classes in for leaders. I got to concentrate on that. Did I know it would work in the early days? Hell no, I had no idea. But so many of my competitors are long gone from my early days, and I'm still here standing. So or
that's
flourishing, I should say.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the machine shop we bought, it was a very typical machine shop. They old equipment, older employees on the manual equipment, nothing new, dark, dingy smell. I hate that smell, in machine shops, right? I don't like that, and it doesn't have to smell like that. Um And they had asked us for a couple years to buy them because we had our largest account was their largest account. So kind of, it was really synergistic and strategic to buy them. But it was a long haul because it really needed everything. But it was these owners that never invested back in. They never invested back in the equipment, in the people. Um, yeah, so it took us a few years, but we put systems and culture in there and it just flourished. It did like 3,000,000 6 years ago, and now they did 7.3 million last year. So it's not huge. There's, I think,
That's
30 or 35
that's
people there, but
substantial. That's
yeah. Well, it's good growth.
that's huge growth. That's massive revenue per employee. There must
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
They're d
Okay.
they're doing great. It was such a good investment, but at the fir I first was in there, I was like, "Oh, man." We had to purge.
Sure. Yeah, I can imagine. I've been in
Well, I'm
shops
sure
like
you've been
that
in
too.
enough shops to know that, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Sticking with for a minute longer this leadership
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't realize they're not a great leader.
Yeah.
What's a sort of a self-audit, a gut check, a way to kind of self-reflect for
Wow.
someone that thinks they might be an okay leader to actually find out?
Well, that is really an interesting question. Yeah, it depends on how unconscious they are. If they're in serious trouble and their employees are really not liking them, or if their employees are afraid of them, they're in their ego.
Right.
If they're afraid to walk in their office and ask a question, they're afraid of their ego. Yeah. They're in their ego. No, if the employees are afraid of them in anywhere, if there's a lot of fear in the organization, the leader's in their ego. The leader's a
Yeah.
bad leader. The leader has no idea their impact.
Right.
It
So
shocks
is
me how people I got accolades from new people, because I said hello to them. And like,
mhm,
God, is the bar that low? Of course I would say hello.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that would be it. I've never been asked that question, but Yeah, unless they wanna do an employee engagement survey or something, hire a company to come in. We used Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center, so it kinda gets funded.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep. The
I'm
MEP.
They come
Yep.
in and do, yeah, the MEP dollars come in and do an engagement survey, and I thought we did really bad on it. I think our first score was like 76% or something, and I thought, "God, that's horrible." The national average is 23% or something. So I'm like they're like, "Oh my
Sure.
god, what are you doing?"
Sure. Sure.
So,
Well, yeah, hiring a firm, it's a good idea.
yeah.
Doing a sort of a 360 review,
Oh, the
if you
360s, yeah,
will.
those are tough, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta get
You know,
feedback from somewhere, right?
yeah, but how do you do it in a way that people feel safe giving it, especially
Yeah.
if they are fearful of retribution if they say something honest or candid?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I have a funny story about that. In my own shop, we ran a survey with our employees, I
Yeah.
think twice a year and maybe quarterly, but at least twice a year. And we actually built the survey right into our software. And
Oh. Mm.
we told our programmer, make it completely anonymous so that we couldn't look behind the scenes and see which employee answered which question
Yeah, yeah,
and what they said. And we had one employee who was a great employee, very happy. He's actually still with us today at the software
yeah,
company, but he just gave us like ones across the board, you know,
yeah.
like terrible scores.
Oh god, and you're
And
surprised
my
because he
part
seemed happy, yeah.
here's the funny part. So my partner Kelsey, who helped build the survey and was very, in tune with everybody, he just could not sleep for like the next couple nights. He's like, "Oh my gosh, like we have someone here that is so unhappy. I just can't imagine who that is and what's going on and what we did so wrong to, make
Yeah,
it this way." And then like a few days later, this employee came to him and he said, "Hey, how come you haven't come talk to me about my survey?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah.
He's like, "I was the one that gave you all the ones." And he's
Oh.
like, "You were?" He's like, "Are you really that unhappy?" He's like, "No, I'm not unhappy. I just want to prove I was pretty sure you were faking it that you couldn't tell
Oh,
who answered what."
wow.
And so he was just testing the system,
Yeah, but
and
that grew the trust right there.
it did. He's like, honestly, we couldn't tell who it was. We
Yeah,
were being honest about that. But
yeah,
but anyway, the long story, I think it really is important to be able to provide a mechanism for employees to share candid feedback, and then for the owner and leader to get out of their ego when they read it and
yeah,
really self-reflect and like what am I building? What am I doing here? Why are
yeah,
people feeling this way? Because it ultimately is up to them to set that culture.
yeah. Another good question to ask ourselves is, do we really want this person to win? I really, truly want that employee or team member to win in life and win at the game in their job, win at everything. But why would I not want that, right? So
Mhm.
you're going to be saying hello and you're going to get to know these people. And then what happens is you do actually really do care about them because now
Right.
you know them a little bit. But yeah, I'm surprised. It's like, well, if you don't do it right, I'll just fire you or something. It's no, I want them to win. And if that's going on, then I'm doing it wrong.
Sure.
I'm not, something's wrong with me that yeah, if I don't feel that way about a person. And granted, maybe 2 or 3% of the people are not gonna buy in. I mean, been criticized over the years, "Oh, that's a cult," or whatever, um, but it's not that at all. It's just skill sets that people don't learn early in life that they need to learn now. And then, of course, back to the culture, we really do have 5 values that we really drive into everything, all the behaviors. Trust,
Okay.
respect, and care are the main 3. And then we have discipline and clarity as aspirational, but that trust, respect, and care, super interesting. The difference that those words mean to different people and how you behave those 3 things is crazy interesting.
Hmm.
One example is one of the so we did this thing where people come in and we did, the flip charts and write stuff down about how do you behave respect, and I'm
Mm.
I'm like, "Well, Paul's being nice to me, he's respecting me, we're good. Well, if you grew up in the gangs on the south side of Chicago, respect is a whole different thing, right? It's like, if you just respect me, you're dead. I gotta kill you. Otherwise, something's, gonna happen to me. Um, so it's so different. But one of the behaviors they came up with that I never would have come up with is I return what I borrow. And you get
Mm.
that, Paul, right? Because
Oh, sure.
they roll in those
Absolutely.
red toolboxes
Yep.
when they start with all their stuff. It's like, oh boy, you better not take anything out of there and not return it, right?
Yeah.
But I would never a corner office is never gonna think of that. I don't borrow anything.
Right.
So,
Huh.
it's so surprising, the behaviors, and that we let them decide what the behaviors were.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
When did you establish that set of values?
quite a while ago, probably 10 or 15 years ago, and worked really hard at it and learning the behaviors, how do we do this? And then we keep ingraining them. Like, uh, maybe a year or 2 ago, we had a value a month, so now we're doing care this month, and we tell different care stories or our purpose, the business's purpose is to create joy through kindness. We talk about kindness a lot and joy.
Wow,
And
that's a good
yeah,
purpose.
so then we share kindness stories or we do different things like that because we huddle up and meet every morning and then we have value stream meetings twice a month and then we quarterly meeting once a year. So, and of course, back to the culture, the financials are important to teach and show, be open about the income statement.
In manufacturing, growth isn't accidental, it's engineered. But a lot of suppliers are still building their pipeline on outdated lists, inconsistent follow up, and hope based marketing, hoping their website will somehow bring in leads. Gabe Draper, the founder of Factor, knows that struggle. Years ago, he ran a shop that went bankrupt, not because of quality, but because he didn't have a steady way to generate new opportunities. That experience is what led him to build Factor. Factor helps suppliers create consistent sales opportunities by combining targeted outreach with marketing that puts you in front of the right buyers. Their team finds the right companies, starts real conversations, and sets qualified meetings. So if your pipeline swings with referrals or seasonality, Factor brings a system that puts you back in control. And for listeners of this show, Factor is offering a free custom report that highlights the best opportunities in your industry, plus a list of real companies that match what you do. Request yours at factormfg.com/chips. That's FACTUR mfg.com/chips. Yeah, let's talk about financial transparency. That's
Yeah.
on the list. Tell us about
Try
what you do.
teaching depreciation in Vietnamese. But it's
Uh,
important that they understand it. It's important that they understand it. They're making the money, I'm not making the money, they are, and teaching I know there's a great game of business and people do that. I was just doing open books long before that came out, and I just gave the income statement and just teach it to everyone. Everyone in the company is in a meeting once a month to see how that month went. So we go
hmm,
line by line by line by line. Takes
okay,
patience, takes time off the production floor. Yep, got check.
right.
But boy, does it pay off. Pays off huge.
Yeah, we were pretty open book at our shop, and I've heard, many on the show talk about they share the highlights, like how much
Yeah.
money we made or lost, specific jobs, but they don't dig into the line items of the, you know,
Yeah.
profit and loss. Why did you go to that level?
I just believe it's full transparency because they think the owner makes so much money. And I've done well, but I went 20 of my 40 years not making anything or losing, going backwards years for years or 2 good years, 1 horrible year, back and forth. So they don't understand that. So I just feel, and I could be wrong in some environments, if they don't see the whole thing, if any of it's hidden, then the other numbers aren't trusted. I just felt that way. And then
Wow.
I also believe that people need to know that work there how we make money and how we lose money. So if we didn't put enough hours on this job, we're losing money on that job. Does that mean we we lost money for the month? No, not necessarily because we went over our break even. Or,
Mhm.
there's so many different levers to pull
Hmm.
that you can't that job might have been quoted wrong, or the guy might have done it wrong, or there's so many different reasons why you didn't do well on a job.
Yeah.
The tendency is to blame the guy that's making the job, making the part. But maybe I didn't sell enough and get over my break even. So there's so many pieces to it, right?
Hmm. So do you, on a job by job basis, do you look at gross margin more as far as the shop employees are concerned?
That's another crazy thing that I've done, and I did it from the beginning, Paul. Don't ask me why. I probably won't remember, but we look at EBIT, earnings
Right.
before income taxes, all the way down to EBIT. Gross margin
Right.
only gets you to here. Then you got
Sure.
all these expenses. I got all
Of
this stuff
course.
I got to pay for, and so even part by part by part, we quote it to get an EBIT. We measure it against the profit we're trying to get, not gross margin.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I like that
Yeah,
concept that if you leave anything out, they will assume there's stuff hidden in those numbers, and
yeah,
full
yeah,
transparency is your best policy.
yeah.
And the fact that, I mean, just clearly, having a business that does the kind of revenue and size that you've grown to, but to be candid, that there's a lot of years where the owner doesn't take home anything,
Oh
or
my god.
like that's a hard truth that most people don't realize
They
about
don't
owning a
know.
manufacturing company.
I only worked with my father for 6 years, but 2 of those years, I just took enough money home. Him and I split $40,000, and the 20,000 that I got went to my nanny. I had to pay my nanny. I had to get
Right.
enough to pay my nanny, yeah. So, yeah, there were years like that.
Yeah, for
But,
sure.
you get over a hump. There's different levels of you get over a hump and you're okay, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember those years after 9/11. My shop was pretty heavily in aerospace, and it was
Wow.
very lean. And I had a 1-year-old, and my
Yeah,
wife was
yeah.
home with him, and she was afraid,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
Because where's your paycheck, Paul?
I was afraid too,
Yeah,
but,
I know.
I could affect the outcome more than she could. She was just
Yeah,
along for the ride at that point. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it almost brings tears to my eyes.
yeah.
It's very real.
It's very real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that's we did s we've had lean years for sure. I think all shops do. My
Mhm.
my bigger concern, though, if you think about our growth, when we bought the machine shop, I had already had leaders to put in there. I had a deep
Mhm.
bench of leaders ready to go, wanting more opportunity. Bam, put them in there. Then we bought this automation shop 2 years ago, took our president and another, top leader, put them over there, so they're running it.
Mhm.
That's the growth. So if you're not developing leaders, it's very hard to grow.
Yeah.
You think it's all sales, 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 and just push more through this thing, but if you don't have leaders to lead the people in a great way, it's tough.
Well, that's a great segue. Let's maybe move over and talk about team. And let's start at the beginning. How do you recruit? How do you think about workforce development? Um, do you work with local community colleges? Yeah, what are the initiatives you're doing there? And then how do you grow them as they enter the business and have potential?
Yeah. All great questions. Our best recruiting is, of course, the employees themselves, right? Nepotism's the best thing that God ever invented, and all their friends. Because when you have a really great work environment, they want their friends to work there, but they don't want their friends to mess up, right? So it's a
Right.
that's our best recruiting tool. Um, I gotta remember how much we pay them to recruit, 1,000 or $2,000 or whatever to get for everyone they
Yep.
bring in. That
For
works
referral.
out for 6 months. I think most companies do that. Otherwise, we're using recruiting firms,
Hmm.
and hopefully our website that we changed it up a little bit helps us. I've been a little disappointed. Welding and machining are the key ones, and the welding schools, I think, have a long way to go. Number 1, they're not welding in stainless, even though I offer scrap to the junior colleges and the welding schools. If you come and pick up the stainless scrap, you can use it to weld stuff, right? For a while, one of the community colleges was doing that, but as people transition and change jobs, it kind of just died. It takes effort and energy, but they've charged these guys a lot of money, and they come out, and they can't read a print, and they can weld but they can weld a bead, a straight line. Well,
Mhm.
we're welding upside down and all o if you saw some of the parts on the website, you know what we're welding, really complicated things, so we just had to accept that, and now if you can lay a good bead on stainless steel, we'll teach you the rest. It's up to us to teach you, and they have to, be able to think in 3D in a way, even machinists do, right? Um,
Mhm.
so but a few years ago, my daughter thought I was crazy, but now she thinks it was a really good idea. Took our top welder, young guy, best, he was we have a lot of top welders, so I shouldn't say that, but really great welder, because he really wanted to teach, paid him a lot more money to just teach and develop welders. So that's on us.
Wow.
And
That's
he was
cool.
producing a lot of great stuff that we could sell. So it was a gut check, and my daughter
Yeah.
was right, to be worried about it, but the guy had a great attitude, really wanted more. He was the right person. Boy, did it work out. It worked out for both of us. I think
Mhm.
we would have lost him if we didn't make a move.
Mm.
So we're doing that ourselves. And then in machining, we do the same thing. We don't call them apprentices, but there's, mentor in machining. We don't have one person teaching, but we happen to have a really good Mastercam programmer that likes to teach as well. But we will send them to Mastercam school first. But
Mhm.
we we just had to accept that the education is our responsibility.
Right. Yeah.
Teaching and training is on us. It's not on somebody out there in the Netherlands that, you know.
Is it a formalized apprenticeship program or is it just your own internal
No,
system?
just our own internal thing, yeah.
Okay.
You know how you
Okay.
go to you hear people speak and they say, "Oh, hire for culture, hire for this and hire for that," and it's like they're not lined up outside the door. Really healthy, mentally fit, spiritually enlightened people aren't lining up, right?
That is true.
And even the books that get the right people in the right seats and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, just, get the right people in the right seats on the bus. I'm like, make the bus safe and the environment safe, and anything can happen then. Make your culture great. Make it safe for them to work there. Make it safe for them to be themselves. Make it safe for them to not hide a mistake. God, I can't hide mine. They're too big and so, you gotta really work on that culture. That piece is so important. And people leave their jobs because of their immediate boss, their immediate supervisor, leader. That's why people leave. And we got a lot of lifers. We got a lot of people there a long time. I wanted the stats. I don't have the stats with me, but since I'm in Florida, but yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Gosh, that just resonates. Make the bus safe.
Make the
Holy
bus
cow.
safe.
There's so much in that.
It just made more sense to me. Even right in the beginning when Good to Great came out, I'm like,
Hmm.
hire all the right people. It's like, it's impossible. That doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way to me. Well, it didn't in my business.
Sure.
Yeah. How about you, Paul? Were they all lined up waiting to work for you because they had all the right skills and then they were very enlightened?
No, for sure. Although I do think, you talk about nepotism, people that are more emotionally healthy generally
Mhm.
know other people that are more emotionally healthy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so if you do have a great culture and you attract and cultivate those folks, they kind of run in circles, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
The
So
whole
true.
adage, you're the average of the five people you hang out with the most.
Yeah.
And if you have, a generally good, healthy group of people, and machinists know machinists,
Yeah,
that
they do. Yeah.
the referrals are likely to be better ones than
Yeah.
someone that is barely holding it together and is super reactive and
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a toxic culture. You're not going to retain those people anyway. So you
Yeah.
certainly
Yeah.
don't want their friends don't want their friends
No,
also
no.
joining.
That's the other
But
thing
no, it's not.
we've all been through where we don't let the toxic person go fast enough, right?
Absolutely.
They're hanging in there
Yeah.
going, and I'm like, "No." There's certain behaviors I just can't do.
Yeah.
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 You have to let them go pretty quick.
Oh.
Paul, tell me about your trip to Italy.
I went there with the NTMA and we got to tour SMW Autoblok, two different facilities. Absolutely blew me away. World class, enormous places. I can't even count how many machines there were, but so much automation. One of the most incredible takeaways for me was the breadth of what they made. I did not know they made so many work holding products and automation products. And I loved watching a big chuck machine a little chuck. So they were machining chucks in huge lathes. I thought that was super fun.
Yeah, you introduced them to me after you came back, and they've been to my shop. And the ideas they have to like breathe new life into some of my machines and the tools and the jobs that we're running was just shocking.
And then one of the coolest things is we're bringing this new automated pallet delivery system, the Hennig workflow, to market. And guess what the interface is? It's SMW 0-point locators. It's really sweet.
We're getting ready to get some of those.
So how do people find SMW Autoblok to look through that massive catalog of products?
It's SMW Autoblok, BLOK.com.
Yeah, get rid of that C. SMW Autoblok, BLOK.com.
So I know you're not in the daily weeds anymore. Your daughter
Yeah.
now is, but what are some of the biggest challenges you guys are facing today?
Space, not enough
Okay.
parking, needed a bigger building. Those are
Okay.
ours. We're growing, and we're in 2 different plants now, and our machining is just busting at the seams. And I got to replace some of the equipment, but the equipment won't fit in the building we're in. And so those are some of the immediate challenges. I could say the talent, that's always a challenge to get the skilled people or to get the skilled people. I mean, to be a really good welder is going to take 3 years. A machinist, at least that, right?
Yeah.
So that's always a problem. But other than that, the challenges are the same, getting the work in there because the ebb and flow of job shop world is tough. I mean, you're either got too much or not enough, and yeah, yeah, it's and then staying profitable. I guess I'll take the bigger challenge outside of ACE. I think the industry itself has a lot of founders that don't have people to take it over, and private equity comes calling and gives them some money. And I'm afraid the industry will go so much that way. And you could lose some of what we have. Like we were approached uh, c- many, many, many times to sell.
Of
And
course.
even from one time, there was a really good strategic buyer that was very interested, and that would have been the time to sell. Um, but what we have would have been lost for sure. And that would be such a shame in my mind. But I think industry wide that's happening, and because the founders don't have any other option,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have anyone to take it over, and now they're getting older and they're getting tired, and now they're like, "Oh, I need a succession plan," and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
Well, yeah,
I done that
undoubtedly.
fairly well, but I got lucky that one of my 2 children wanted to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, undoubtedly that is happening and it will happen to a certain percentage of shops. And for many of them it will ruin the company. Not
Mhm,
just the culture,
mhm.
but we've heard plenty of stories of those businesses actually then being run into the ground and going bankrupt a few years later, right?
Yes,
Because
yeah,
these firms come in, they think it's easy, they think they're pros at running a business, but they have no idea they just bought the hardest business in the world
to run,
and
yeah,
to run. But
and then our
I,
customers are getting larger 'cause they're
hmm
this
yep, they're doing the
they're
same
getting
thing,
larger and more complicated for us our size to deal with.
right?
Do you see that
Yeah,
too?
for sure.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. I had a guest on, um, really interesting, Mark Hillenberg, of Collective Manufacturing, and
Mhm.
he talked about how their customers and he bought 3 shops, and it was they did have PE funding behind him,
Yeah, sure.
but very much a buy and hold forever mentality
Oh,
and
good.
build the
Mhm.
business and, you know, uh, owner operator kinda we're in there every day doing it ourselves.
Sure.
Um, but what he said, what was interesting is that some of their bigger customers are coming to them and saying, this other vendor of ours doesn't have a succession plan, and we're afraid they're going to get bought by a traditional PE firm, and we
Yeah.
don't want that to happen because we've seen so many horror stories.
Oh,
So
wow.
will you buy that other vendor?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So they're getting deal flow because of this dynamic that you mentioned,
Yes.
that these firms are coming in and buying things up and not doing a great job, not being good stewards of those businesses. And
Yeah,
so I think that was very telling
yeah,
that maybe the traditional PE model is giving themselves such a bad reputation
yeah,
that but at the same time when a shop owner doesn't have other options and they're offering a big check, it's
yeah,
hard to say no to that.
yeah.
But I think more underlying is that if those shops built themselves to be saleable, they would have way more options
Oh, way more options, yes.
and they'd be more valuable anyway.
And they'd be
So
more valuable anyway, but yeah,
and they would have been more fun to run the whole time.
and they would have more fun, yes.
And more more
Yeah,
profitable,
yeah, yeah, and more profitable.
fewer lean years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and there's always gonna be lean years at some point in time. Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah, but if you're professionalizing every department, including your sales and marketing department, and you have
Yes.
pipeline and you're looking more than 1 quarter out,
Yeah, yeah.
and you have good systems in place. You mentioned, you building the systems because
Yes.
you couldn't turn on the machines, and
Yeah.
you've put all your attention to that.
Yeah.
I gotta believe that's been a huge part of your success
Oh, for
is
sure. Yeah,
focusing on having a professionally run
yeah.
business.
I never minded smarter people than me. I wanted it. I don't there's so many smarter people than me in that organization, and that's what
Yeah,
you need, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'm smart in the stuff I'm smart in, but there's so many other things, right? You
yeah,
can't be smart
yeah,
in all of it if you're gonna grow it. But
yeah.
yeah, it's a good talk about the private equity. We'll see where that goes. I think it's tough. Some of our customers are now owned that way too, and it gets tougher on the our friends that are the employees and our customers are very under a lot of pressure and stress to get the price down, to
Hmm.
save costs, get the costs down, get the costs down. And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's tough on them
it is. It is.
because we say no. Here's the price.
Right.
We try
Yeah,
to, right?
sure, sure,
Hold the
sure.
line.
So you don't get to the revenue size that you're at with it by accident. How have you done your sales and marketing over the years?
We have stuck to the relationship sale. We really have. We are low volume. We are low volume, high mix
Hmm.
environments. So we're not going after the 50,000 parts. We're going after 5 parts that are expensive parts. Um, but we have it's VP of sales and 2 salespeople. We just go knock on doors. It's old fashioned, and then we develop the relationships. We've gotten so much new business because the buyer at this company is now promoted at another company, and then someone over here is at another company because we have those relationships. It's been growing like that. But we do face to face sales calls. We
Nice.
don't expect orders to just keep coming in. We continually call on them, build a relationship. And then in my role, which is now our CEO, Keith Stout, he's very good at this. Angela, my daughter, is very good at this. We penetrate the accounts deep so we know the highest level we could know within all the organizations. And it was my job. My VP of sales is like, you got to go call on this person and you got to call on that person. We got to, the level I was at,
Hmm.
I had to call on the presidents or VPs in the companies. Um, so then when trouble came or something wasn't working out, or you have a lot of different relationships, not just the buyer.
Yeah. Oh, that's super wise.
Yeah.
And so were you going and visiting, these customers and
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
"Hey, I want to get a meeting with your president?"
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
that a lot. Yeah, for sure.
That's
The
that's really
owners of the
important.
companies are the presidents, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good takeaway right
I
there.
had to learn how to golf. It killed me, but I did it.
I
Yeah.
still haven't learned that, but
No, it's tough, and it doesn't require that. I think pickleball's more popular these days, and
sure.
that's beyond me for sure. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I've had people on the show that talk about the importance of just getting out in person at least quarterly with your big customers.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't talk about going, levels up the org chart and
Yeah.
making sure you have multi-level relationships.
Well, I
That's
always thought
important.
it was important to know where they are headed. And if you're down at the buyer level or engineering level, they don't know sometimes because there's no transparency. So
Hmm.
to get strategic and where you're headed so I know where I gotta be, it's top people in those
Such
meetings. And so it's so
that's
fun to learn it ahead of time.
yeah,
So you can pivot, you can see the curve in the road because they hinted at it or told you. Yeah.
that is such good advice. Wow,
Yeah.
awesome. Um, well, you've already laid down so much wisdom today. If you could kind of sum up your best advice for shops or companies that are earlier in their journey than you guys are, what would you suggest they focus on the most?
Oh god, want your people to win, believe in them, and for long-term significant growth, you develop your leaders, find leaders. And it doesn't necessarily. It's not the best welder all the time or the best machinist that has leadership skills, but you have to continually teach and train and teach and train and develop people.
Yeah.
It's the people, buildings and machines and software you can get right. People.
Mhm.
Put money into people, love the people, and really truly care about them. Don't fake care. Know them. And I know if you have 2,000 employees, it's tough to do that. But know your sphere of influence, right? Know those people then. Yeah. And return
Gene,
what you borrow, right? No.
in return what you borrow. Absolutely.
That was a big lesson for me.
Awesome. Well, this has been absolutely delightful.
Well, thank you.
You have a lot of wisdom to share, and I love the way that you built this business. We've had a couple of guests that have really leaned into sort of that like emotional intelligence part.
Yeah.
Both were women, ironically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not ironically. But I just can't stress how critical that is, and
It's so important.
appreciate you sharing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It helps
as
people in the long run get along better. Yeah.
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 All right. Well, if people want to learn more about Ace Metal Crafts, where would you direct them?
Well, acemetal.com, our website for sure, which you mentioned a couple times. You can always reach out. Our emails are gene.pizzo@acemetal.com. I can direct you in any way or help in any way I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
All
Well,
right.
Gene, thank you again so much for this time today. This has
Oh,
been
Paul,
really
I
cool.
really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed
All
it. It's
right.
fun. Thank you.
Thank you.